What is going on, everybody? My name is Brady. This is Josh. We are back once again. Be All In Sports. We're back to bring you some Week 18 action. Kind of getting sad. I'm getting a little bit teary in the eyes here, knowing that the regular season is coming to an end. But here we are. We are in Week 18, one of the usually what is one of the most meaningless weeks in the NFL. This week, there's some games that are going to have some definite, things to play for some of these teams. But here's the real question, Josh. How'd you fare on your fantasy football season? How'd we do?
Well, made playoffs in 3 out of 4 leagues. Happy to announce that I did take home a title, finishing first, second, and third. So
Nice.
Not bad. The league I won, I dominated. I mean, my team scored 197 points in week 16, 201 points in week 17, championship week. That's called absolute domination. My opponent didn't have a chance. I smoked everybody. It was fucking glorious. I had T. Higgins and neighbors on that team, Saquon, Jaden Daniels. It was just a beatdown of epic proportions. 2 of them, actually. And then the league I finished second in, I lost in the title game for the 3rd year in a row. I'm approaching the 1990s Buffalo Bills in that league, so that sucks. But they'll turn in a profit on that. And then my league of record, one you used to be in, where you won your title, dick. 10 years ago, I won the 3rd place game rather handily, and I even left 30 points on the bench. And I still won that game. And it was great because I played my nephew in the 3rd place game, who his rookie year was 2021, and he beat me in the title game in that league by 0.7 points, which still stings.
Revenge.
Yeah, little fucker. Love him, but little fucker. But yeah, beat him in the 3rd place game. So, got my entrance fee back. So, long story short, I made out pretty handily in fantasy. So with that, and have hit some parlays recently. So on the year, I'm in the money. Not by a whole lot, but I'm in the money, and that's all that matters. We're all gambling here. You just want to be in the black, not in the red. That definitely put me over the hump to get me into the black. And now we're going to bet on some games on week 18, which is going to be, some of the games are going to be a shit show. Other ones, not so much. But I did finally bring home the championship, my first one since 2019. And I had lost, I think, 7 title games since 2019. Yeah. Across my 4 leagues. I was in 5, dropped down to 4 last year. So I'm not even in the league I'm title in anymore. So yeah, it's been a heartbreaking couple of years. Again, making it into the title game is great. Our friends or anybody's friends are going to give you shit. We ain't winning. Well, yeah, but you're in 9th. So at least I'm playing in the championship game. One of our good friends is like, oh, great, so you won. I'm like, yeah, and you finished in last place in both leagues. So eat a dick or a whole bag of them. Because I'm at least making the playoffs and making a run at it. And you're like the majority of NFL teams, the Cleveland Browns, watching the playoffs from your couch with no rooting interest because you suck.
So if you're watching this,
it's all about giving people, it's all about giving our friends
Josh
shit.
thinks you guys suck.
I hope he is watching it. They all suck. I'll kiss my ass. I want a championship. That's all I'm worried about. I finally got another ring to add to my mantle, whatever, So it was fun. Great season. Like I said, my team that I won in, God, it was the most dominant team I ever built in my entire life. It was stellar. Hoping to do it again next year. I lost in the championship game last year in that same league. Shocking, I know. Like I said, I was 0-6 or 0-7 in title games since 2019. So it was nice to finally get the win in that one in dominant fashion. I scored the most points of all year in the championship game, which is what we all want. Y'all want, when it matters most, man, let's have our best week. I scored over 200 points 3 times this year in that league and did it in the title game That's what matters. Stomp them, crush their will so they know it's not happening. I had that shit wrapped up by Saturday night after T. Higgins dropped a 40 burger, McDonald's style on, Big Mac 40 burger. Loved it. It was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, it was awesome.
Heck yeah. That's good news, man. I'm glad you got the fantasy season done. I'm glad that you came out successful. So we're going to continue that trend into week 18, the last week of the NFL season. We're going to create some winners here today too. We didn't get to place some mini bets over week 17. I was in a state they weren't allowing me to bet the same way, so
I'm in the same state.
Able to put in some of those bets that we usually have. Yeah, and
so
we had to do it a little bit different.
I'm actually in that state, so yeah, we're limited here a little bit.
So he's betting differently these days, but I wasn't able to put in some of these bets, but even though I didn't get to put it on there, I had a pretty unbelievable record this last week. I think I missed 2 games basically throughout the whole slate, so not bad. And one of them was the Chiefs, which I basically told you I hated the pick anyway. And if it wasn't for a couple of those Chiefs players creating that grudge that I had against them, I probably would have picked them to win too. So it is what it is, though. We got to take some chances somewhere, and I took that chance. But we're going to get right into week 18. There's some shit games. There's some good games, but let's get started right now, and we'll kick it off with this first news. All right, so coming in with our first big banger of the day, we've got the Cleveland Browns 3-13 whopping record against the Baltimore Ravens at 11-5. That over/under is 41.5. Plus 1,000 money line for the Browns, minus 2,000 for the Ravens. We've got a massive spread, plus 18 spread.
That's a college spread.
Damn. Is this the biggest spread we've had? Is that the biggest one all season?
Yeah. The other one was I think the Lions were 14 points over somebody, 18. That's a college spread, dude. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's a crazy spread. Not a lot to say on this. The only way that I would have a lot to say on this matchup is if the Ravens, by some chance, get through the first quarter and they are up by like 24 points at the half or something like that. I can see him resting some players, kind of being a little bit more sporadic. I think especially with players like Derrick Henry, if you don't need him, you're not going to use him in this game. I think this was the game that earlier in the year, didn't we pick Derrick Henry to go on his under? Wasn't it against the Browns?
Yeah, we did, and this is the game that the Browns actually covered the 8-point spread and won the game in Cleveland. Yeah. Not the case this time.
No, and it's kind of, I do get it. Obviously, you're not going with the starting quarterback. You're not even going with the backup. So Browns are sitting there with their third string quarterback against a team that's a juggernaut right now. I think the Ravens just keep getting better. They're improving the way you would expect a postseason team to improve towards the end. And it's like at first you kind of saw the Ravens being that team that maybe could make it to the end. And then they came out and kind of fell flat in the beginning, had some struggles, would get up in games and then just completely fall apart in the second half. They did that a couple times this season. But here in the last few games, the defense has gotten better, more solid. Yeah. The offense is just a powerhouse right now. Lamar Jackson's not turning the ball over. He's using his legs once again. He's getting excess yardage on the ground. He's passing it better than any quarterback in the league right now. Honestly, like when I told you last week, when you were like, Mahomes is the best football player in the league, my argument towards that was that right now he is not the best player in the NFL. He might have those accolades to go along with it, but if we're talking on a single season, he's by far not putting up the numbers that Lamar Jackson's putting up. I get it. The league's based on wins, but I I'm a firm believer that once you get to that 0-0 in the playoffs, it's meaningless what you did throughout the year. You made it. You got there. I don't care who you beat. The playoffs are a completely different story. We've seen teams that were the wild card team come in and get it done. The one thing that you don't see, honestly, is a lot of the teams that are the shoe-in. You don't necessarily always see that team take it home. There's been many times, and this competition is stiff. To me, the AFC is kind of controlling the game a little bit. You've got some major, major offensive players over there. In my opinion, I'm not even sure I would put the Chiefs in, maybe not even in 1 or 2. I might even list them as number 3 as far as how their offense is performing right now. They're good. They're a great team, but so are the Ravens right now, and the Ravens are putting it together at the end. The Bills, I don't know what to think about the Bills yet, because I don't know what they're going to do just in the playoffs. I know that they can come out and dominate teams, but I know that they can also have their off days. And I don't know. But back to this game in particular, I can't bet this shit. I can't bet minus 2,000 money line. It's ridiculous for me to even go there. The plus 18 spread does look appealing, but I can't trust the quarterback. I can't trust what I see going on with the Browns right now. Yeah. They're hurt. They're not putting it together on offense. I don't know if they're going to have. I don't think they have the firepower right now. As much as I hate big spreads, I'm not betting it, but it's probably going to hit, to be quite honest with you, unless the Ravens just kind of give up towards the end. That's the only way that I think they're not just going to absolutely romp the Browns in this one. If they kind of play down to the competition, which is a very, very likely possibility in this match. Once you kind of have it done and you're not going to push the envelope a little bit further, if you're already beating a team, even like if the Ravens are up by, say, 10 to 17 points, anywhere like that, I wouldn't expect them to be all out balling, to be quite honest with you. And at that point, you kind of leave the door open for the Ravens to at least sneak back into that 18-point range. So for me, I'm staying away from this game. But if I'm going to play something, it's gonna have to be that obvious one right there, that plus 18 spread. If I was going to play something in this game, I would play the plus 18 on the Browns. But overall, the money line pick on this is definitely the Ravens.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, the Ravens still have a lot to play for. They got to win this game to win the division, which they want to do. And the Browns are starting Bailey Zappi. We've seen what he can do, which is not much. And then also I'm reading that DTR or whatever his name, DT, he's going to play too. They're going to split quarterback.
That's the other quarterback, Dorial
Thompson Robinson. Yeah, so DTR. So he's going to play too. I don't know how they're going to allocate those snaps. Is like one guy getting first half, second half? I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. The only quarterback that gives the Browns any kind of chance to keep it competitive is Winston. And he's not going to play, from what I understand. He's got a shoulder injury. He's going to dress, not going to play. Even if he was playing, I would think the Browns could score some points. They've averaged 16 points over the last 3 or 4 games, which is terrible. They couldn't score against Miami's defense. To your point, the Ravens defense, as shitty as it's been all year long, the last 4 weeks, they've been playing stellar, lights out. They just went to Houston and completely bitch slapped them, giving up no points. They actually scored points. They got a safety. So they scored more points than the Houston offense. Yeah, they scored more points than the Houston offense did on the road, indoors. What do you think they're going to do against the Browns? This game should be like at least 28-0 by halftime, if not halfway through the second quarter. I don't see the Ravens starters even making it to halfway through the third quarter, and they're going to bench them all because it's going to be so out of hand. The division's wrapped up, rest up for next week. I wouldn't touch anything in this game except the over-under. I would go over 41.5 points because I think the Ravens are going to score 35 points by themselves. And keep in mind too, like you mentioned, what was that, week 8 or so when the Browns beat them? That's still in the back of their minds too. NFL players have pride and they all get paid. The only player playing for anything is Myles Garrett for the Browns, and he may not even play. So, yeah, Ravens crush this game. We spent too much time on it already. I definitely feel confident in the over 41.5 because I think the Ravens get to it by themselves.
I don't think there's a reason. I honestly, this is that perfect game scenario where, yeah, you think that the Ravens are going to blow them out, and I get it. They should crush them in all aspects of the game. But when you're talking about a plus 18 spread, no matter how bad the NFL team is, I don't think the Ravens aren't going to push. They're not going to push the envelope in the second half. And I think if they have it,
they're going to get it done in the first half. That's what I'm saying. They're going to get it done in the first half. They're going to say, hey, guys, let's go win the division by halftime, and then you guys can all rest. So let's go balls to the wall.
I agree with you. But then if you're resting in the second half, that means that your other players are coming in, and it's not the Ravens starters that I'm saying are going to have an issue here. It's the only way I'm saying it is the Ravens don't have a reason to beat the Browns by 18 points. There's no reason to do it.
That's why I see the best bet's the over 41.5. That's really low. That's really low considering the Ravens, their starting offense is going to put up 28 points. Easily. If not more.
Derrick Henry is not going for anything. He's not going to get a 2,000-yard season this year. So essentially, he just wants the playoffs. So like I said, if they're up 17-0 in the first half, then they're going to play down to the competition. They're just going to know that, hey, we can beat them. And then you're looking at backups coming in, and I don't think that I could see him definitely scoring over 41.5, but I don't think the need is there. And that's when it kind of worries me. Like, Ravens are going to have a problem stopping these guys.
Yeah, combine with both teams, that 41.5 points looks great because if Derrick Henry don't play the second half, they still got Keaton Mitchell, who's in Justice Hill's out. Keaton Mitchell's coming off an ACL. He's looked pretty good. They're going to give him a lot of carries. They got another rookie guy too that's going to play too.
I'm not worried about the Ravens, but why would the Ravens care to score 41 points? I don't think the Browns are going to. Honestly, I don't know if they're going to score that much.
I say the over-under, bet the over 41.5. I think it hits. Pretty safe bet because the Ravens are going to stomp them.
All right.
Hey, real quick, don't forget too, Lamar is still in a tight race for MVP. They want him to get that. Dude's thrown 39 touchdown passes, 4 picks. They're going to give him the first half and say, go out and kick their ass and boost your MVP chances because Josh Allen's not going to play.
Yeah, no, like I said, I have no doubt that they can get it done in the first half, but then the second half, none of your starters are playing, and the game is a toss-up at that point because you're just looking at backups versus backup.
Yeah, but at 28-3, at halftime, then you only need 10. You only need 11 points to hit the over. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what if the Ravens don't score in the second half? The Browns defense isn't the worst defense on the face of the planet.
Yeah, it ain't the best.
Like they can give you some issues, especially if Garrett decides that he is going to play. But I don't know. It's Ravens for me.
Ravens win the game. Yeah, we spent way too much time in this game. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey,
it's gonna be a blowout. This game is gonna be blown out.
It could be, but I think it might. I think some of these games, there's going to be some shockers in this week 18 action somewhere. And
this is not the one.
I don't know. I get where you're coming from, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm not betting it. Neither one of us are betting this, but Josh is taking the over 41.5. I'll go ahead and I'll take a risk on the plus 18 spread for Browns.
Yeah. All right. Next Saturday night game is going to be the 8-8 Cincinnati Bengals against the 10-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. This one's very interesting because if the Ravens win earlier on Saturday, they clinch the division, which means the Steelers are playing for a playoff position. They can't win the division, though, which means they'll be a wild card team and going on the road. So you got to think how motivated are they going to be? I would say still pretty motivated because right now they're in the 5 seed, which means they'll go play Houston, which every playoff team wants to play Houston right now. So it's going to be a great game. The over-under at 48.5 jumps out at me. I get the Bengals defense is terrible, but a January game in Pittsburgh is going to be cold. We all know cold weather usually slows teams down. That seems really high for me, especially a division game. So I really like the best bet for this game is, again, the over-under, but go the under on this one. It's so hard to pick these games because Burrow's having if the Bengals had a better record, Burrow would be at least in the MVP conversation. And he still is, but he's on the outskirts. It's a Lamar or a Josh Allen. But, yeah, I like the under on this one. I think it's going to be a ground and pound game. I don't think either team is going to light it up. I think the Steelers defense is going to show up better than what they've been doing recently. They got some injured starters back last week. Yeah, I know they got lit up by the Chiefs. I understand that. But this is a different animal. And even that was 29-10. So I don't think that the Steelers are going to run with it. This is going to be a close game. The spread -1.5. Yikes. That's a total pick 'em. So my safest bet in this game is the Steelers under the over under 48.5. I like that number. That's a high number for an outdoor game in January, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I went back and forth on this game quite a lot because I'm trying to get out of my head the fact that, yeah, the Steelers, when this game starts, they have a decision to make. Like, are we going to fight for this and get the decision, or try and basically what I think it comes down to is how bad do you want to see the Bengals possibly in the playoffs? And
yeah, spoiler,
quite honest, I really don't think any of these teams want to see the Bengals and Joe Burrow in the playoffs. He's one of those players that if anybody right now can carry a team with their arm, he's one of them. And even when you think that team is in trouble because their defense is getting them just waylaid, he is the quarterback that right now, with his receiving core and the running back and how they're performing offensively, he can put you right back in that game if you can make 1 or 2 stops. If you look at this last game, 44-38. Okay, so this is where I kind of went back and forth because if the Steelers are playing, I keep thinking to myself, how much do you trust Russell Wilson? Because for him to beat them the last game, the dude had to throw 3 touchdowns to 1 interception and over 400 yards because most of the game, for some reason, they were not generating a lot on the ground. I don't know why. 16 carries for 75 yards, even though Harris had a touchdown, that is still a low number. And I remember specifically betting on Jaylen Warren to get a small amount of yardage in this, and he only got 3 carries. So if you are going to be stupid and go with that game plan again where you're not feeding your running backs and trying to run over this team and just keep the ball as long as you can to keep it out of Burrow's hands, which that has to be your recipe for success, right? Is to not let them have the ball. So I'm thinking it's going to be a Pittsburgh run-heavy attack, trying to do as much as they possibly can. I don't think Jaylen Warren is getting 3 rushing attempts in this game. And I would be more inclined to say that Najee Harris is probably going to see maybe 18 to 20 carries in this one. And possibly Warren, if they can get anything generating in the run game, they're not gonna make Russell Wilson throw 400 yards this week. That's not going to happen. You have home field advantage. So for me, this game boils down to on one hand, you have Joe Burrow, who does play the Steelers very well. He's got a pretty decent record. He's got good success against the Steelers. So you have to take that into account. I even went back and I'm like, okay, the years that Joe Burrow, you always say how hard it is to beat a team two times in a year, especially if you're talking about a team like the Steelers. So going back and looking, I'm like, how many times has Joe Burrow played these guys actually two times in a season? Thinking that I was going to see a split. And, well, he did beat them 2 times in a season. So, that's there. You do have that. But for me, in this particular game, this circumstance, I think you have a Steelers team that is going to be motivated they're going to be motivated to get this done and not see the Bengals not even have a chance to see this team in the playoffs again. I do not think that the Bengals are an easy matchup in the playoffs, and I don't think teams really necessarily want them in there. And if they're going to win this game, that's the only shot they're going to have. And other things have to happen. I get that. But for me, I'm going Steelers plus 1.5 on the spread. I think they're going to have the dog in them. I think they're going to want it. I think they're going to want that 11th win this season. You got to also think the Bengals have been playing tight games. The Steelers have just lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Just like I tell you all the time, it's not good for your team to go in on some major winning streak. I also think that the Steelers do have a need now to win a game before they get into the playoffs, just to at least generate a little bit of confidence, because right now, 3 losses in a row, you're running at an all-time low, and you don't want to head into the playoffs like
with 4.
Having a little bit of doubt that you can't get it done right now.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to come out here and try and put on a show. I think they're going to try and get it done, get the Bengals out of there, make sure they don't have a chance to get in the playoffs. But yeah, man, I'm going Steelers plus 1.5 on the spread on this one.
That's a good bet. And real quick to your point, so Burrow, realistically, has been the 3rd best quarterback in the league this year, you can argue. Again, behind Lamar and Josh Allen. I mean, the dude just set a record, his eighth straight game with over 250 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Nobody's ever done that, ever. So the Steelers are a ground and pound team. Their recipe for success, like you mentioned, dude, they have to have 30 rushing attempts at least. And they know that. And the Bengals might be missing Chase Brown. He's a game-time decision. If they don't have Brown, that takes a bit of explosiveness away from the Bengals. So, again, the Steelers' defense, I just see them showing up because they've been kind of non-existent the last 3 weeks. They've been getting lit up. And they even got healthy last week. So, I just think, again, a January game, Steelers get back to what they're known for, ground and pound and defense. They show up. Mike Tomlin has them ready to play because he's arguably the best coach in the NFL. One of them. I mean, you got Andy Reid, there's others, but Tomlin has done something nobody else has ever done. 18 years in a row, over 500. That's legit. So I do like your pick, and I think they keep it a tight game. It's gonna be fun to watch though, because Burrow's on a mission. Burrow is on a mission to get into the playoffs, and it's going to end up being their loss at home in week 1 to the fucking Patriots is going to keep the Bengals out of the playoffs. And let's be honest, we all want to see the Bengals in the playoffs because they're the team that can do damage that nobody thinks they can. Well, the lower seeded team that can do the most damage, let's put it that way, because they have the best quarterback, but they're just – They made their bet in week 1 when they lost at home to the Patriots, and we'd all rather see the Bengals in the playoffs over the Dolphins. I mean, no one wants to see the Dolphins in the playoffs. Who cares? They're terrible too.
I still blame Vegas for that one. I know that was a phone call from Vegas saying, "Hey, listen, you guys came in at a minus 425, and everybody and their mama has put all their savings on you guys to win this game.
Bet the farm, man. Bet the farm. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. A minus 425. Hey, guess what? Jacoby, you're going to have the greatest game known to man tonight. It's going to happen, buddy. In Cincy.
Hey,
it's going to happen.
And by the greatest game, I mean you're going to throw for 155 yards and still win the game.
Touchdowns.
No touchdowns. Yeah. You're going to lose a fumble too, and you're still going to lose the game. I mean, still going to win the game. Yeah. Solid Vegas.
Vegas made sure of that. Vegas made sure of that. And I also had about 4 parlays that would have cashed me. I think that was big. It was like, I would have hit over $1,000 that day, just based on one more win. Bengals, boof it. So. But if take in mind though, 2 more wins for the Bengals, maybe even a third, and we are 100%. We have a 3-person race for maybe even a 4-person for the MVP, because Burrow is. To be quite honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get a couple votes if they do make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. What's the criteria? Do you have to have the most wins, or is it more like you were able to put a team that you were failing miserably through the first 5 weeks of the season to the playoffs? I mean, dude,
they have no defense. That's the problem.
If they do get in the playoffs by miracle chance, I'm almost inclined to go and put a bet on them to win the Super Bowl, because it's nuts that they would even get in the playoffs. And it's one of those things that you're like, there's no fucking way. Like, they'll get knocked out in the first round. And then the next thing you know, there it is.
I'll tell you this. I wouldn't go winning the Super Bowl, but I bet them to make the AFC Championship game for sure. If they make the playoffs, I will probably make that bet to have them make the AFC title game. For sure.
I would take a chance on him. Yeah. I would take a chance on him. But, dude, somebody's going to take a chance on him to win the Super Bowl, though, and probably get somebody get it plus 3,000 or plus 4,000 or something. And next thing you know, it fucking hits. But that's where we're going with our picks. We'll get on to the next one. All right, here we go. Next up, we got the Houston Texans, 9-7, taking on the Tennessee Titans, 3-13, minus 110. So it's basically a pick 'em here in this one, and +1 spread for the Texans. In this game, it's the only reason that they are putting it this close is obviously because the Texans probably are not going to be playing their starters. So, we don't have to go too far into this matchup, but I don't know. I don't even want to pick this game. This game sucks. Like, this is probably like this is
one of the worst ones. This is one of the worst ones on the slate, man, for real. It's terrible.
If there's a game each week that you can name one that you just don't even want to watch, don't have any interest in, and it could just go away, it's this one. I'm gonna pick the Texans just because I think overall. Now I'm comparing starters here for the most part, but I do think overall they're the better team. And I can't trust it. I can't trust what the Titans have going on. I know that they look good sometimes. Yeah, they're at home, but I still think you're kind of getting a discount with a +1 anything being on the Texans side, and this being a pick 'em. I'm gonna pick the Texans. I'm not gonna bet this game. I don't want anything to do with it. Don't want to see it. Don't want to watch it. But if I'm going to pick anything for me, it's going to be the Texans spread, +1 spread. I think you're getting a discount there, and I can see them even if they do lose. I think it's going to be a competitive game. So I just think for me that's going to be the way I'm going to go. So Texans +1 spread for me is how I'm doing it. Josh, I know you've got a ton to say about this game. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how much time you got? It's gonna be
All the time you need.
It's gonna be the best 30 seconds of your life. I'm actually gonna go to the Titans money line in this game because
All right.
the Texans have nothing to play for. If Stroud and Nico and their starters play, I don't even see him playing a whole lot. They just got routed 31-2 at home on national TV. They're in recovery mode, so they're going to use this game to get their starters some reps. First quarter, maybe. Again, I haven't seen anything on it. I've been looking for it. They're not saying that. It's still only Thursday. But yeah, so I think the Titans actually win this game just because that's kind of what the Titans do, win games they shouldn't win. And honestly, are the Texans going to win it with backups? I don't know. I think the Titans play their starters. I mean, Mason Rudolph's nothing to write home about, but I don't know. Something's telling me just to go with the Titans. Just one of those games where, 4-13 looks better than 3-13, and the Texans have nothing to play for.
I mean, I get what you're saying completely, but do the Titans really want to win this game? I mean, they're almost in that number one. If they lose this game, they're probably getting the number one draft pick. And then even if they do want to trade down, then you get more draft picks. So this team needs a lot of help.
And I agree with that point, but remember this. NFL players and coaches do not tank. They do not tank because the players are like, okay, so we're going to get a better draft pick for a dude they're going to draft that's going to take my job. And they also want to put, a good game on film for their potential next team. So the tanking thing in the NFL, I'm fully on board. That does not happen. They all get paid for a reason. They don't care. They want to win the game. Again, Herm Edwards, you play to win the game, no matter what. Their jobs are at stake.
I get that, but a person. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but let's say that I'm Malik Neighbors. Obviously, Malik Neighbors just had a crushing game and upped his stock even more. But if I'm Malik Neighbors and I'm thinking ahead to my future, I'm thinking, hey, do I see passes from Vinny Cousins over here? Or would I prefer to get passes from Shadur Sanders at number one slot?
Well, first
he's getting his yards regardless.
Yeah. So, I'm talking about the defensive line guys. Like he's 1 out of 53, man. He's going to put his shit on tape. These other guys are going to do the same. They're going to ball out as much as they can and try to win the game. They're not saying, "Oh, let's go lose so we can get a high draft pick." That doesn't happen. They're not doing that. They're going to come out and play hard.
I think it's. I mean,
they're going to come and play hard.
No. A young lineman has a reason to want to get a better person in there as their quarterback and more attention on them the following year. Because they know that this one's lost.
He doesn't know who they're drafting. Nobody on this team knows who they're going to draft with their first round pick, with their top 5 pick. Nobody knows that. I mean, they don't know that. They don't know.
I got a pretty good idea that seeing the Titans need a quarterback.
Well,
I mean, everybody knows what you need.
Well, they do, but also do they always follow through with it? The Falcons took Michael Penix with the 8th overall pick after signing Kirk Cousins. So your job is never safe. You better ball out. You better ball out while you're on the field. That's what they do. They couldn't play. Texans have nothing to play for. The Titans have a little more to play for, and they're at home. Titans.
I mean, yeah, but on the other hand, the Texans are starting a bunch of, in this case, players that might be vying for other spots on other teams and want their own tape. So you can look at it that way too. Like,
yeah, they're back.
We know what
so
you're going to get from the Titans. We don't necessarily know what we're going to get from the Texans.
Yeah, their backups will be for sure. But again, push comes to shove. I'm not betting it. I'm just saying if you want to bet it, I prefer the Titans over the Texans because home game.
Yeah, but as you can see, they haven't won many games overall, and I don't think home field matters too much in
True.
this particular instance.
But
and the Texans, I believe they were 500 away as well, so they're not unaccustomed to winning on the road.
Yeah, but they also don't play that well on the road either. And actually,
they won four of their 9 on the road. It's better than the Texans' 1-6 home record.
Yeah, still not the greatest, but
That's true.
All right.
Neither one of them. I mean, I don't know though. I'll we'll divide it up there too, but we'll see how that one turns out. Yep.
Right.
Head on to the next.
All right, so party people, next game, another divisional game. The 4-12 Panthers going to the 8-8 Falcons. Looking at this game, the spread 7.5. Division game, that's a big spread for a division game. I don't really understand why the Falcons are minus 425. I get the big discrepancy in records, but the Panthers have been playing really good football this, last 4 or 5 weeks or so. I don't think they win the game. I think the Falcons are going to pull us off because they're going to hammer Bijan Robinson. They finally realized that he is the best player on their team, and they're going to run the ball a lot. And the Panthers are terrible at stopping the run. So I think the Falcons get it done. That being said, though, the Panthers, Bryce Young is, believe it or not, he's been playing really well. We've all seen with our own eyes. He's playing competent football. Penix had some moments, against Commanders. I know they lost the game, but he definitely did better in his first start than most people would envision. Again, against a defense that's not really that good in the Commanders. The Panthers is not that good either. Now he's at home. So the Falcons win this game, but I think that the Panthers are going to be able to cover the spread because the Falcons defense is terrible too. And Bryce Young has proven competent. The one caveat, though, is the Panthers did lose arguably their best offensive player in Chuba Hubbard. He's out now on IR. So that could hurt. I still think the Panthers can keep this game within the 7.5 point spread. And if you really wanted to do it, and feel safe about it, Brady loves the alternate spreads. So take it up a couple points. But I think the Falcons win this game. I wouldn't touch the over-under because I don't know. It's indoors, obviously. It just seems like a weird number to me. If it was like 46.5, I'd probably go the over. 48.5 seems a bit much. I don't think these two teams can combine to score 55 points. Now, as I say that, they probably will. So bet against me. But I would take – I mean –
Did you freeze up?
What about you?
I didn't catch the end. What was your was your official?
I said my official bet is I'm going to pick the Panthers. Yeah, Panthers cover the spread. That's a division game. These teams are more evenly matched than their record state, in my opinion, especially the way they're playing now. Even with the Panthers being down Chuba Hubbard, they're still going to find somebody that plug and play. That's how running backs go nowadays. The Falcons do not run away from anybody. So I see them covering that spread. I actually love that bet. I would put money on that. I would bet that. I probably will, actually.
Okay. Yeah, to me, this one is I mean, there's no need to go back and forth. I do understand why I understand why they're minus 425, and it's just for the simple fact that the Panthers can't stop anybody on the ground, and they are definitely they're not going to be able to stop Bijan. He's a madman behind the wheel. set that dude loose. He runs patient. He's got great cutting ability. He's in the passing game as well, so he's going to hurt him everywhere. They just don't have a good defense. And without Hubbard, this is where I have an issue. Bryce Young, even though, yes, he got better, every game that he was playing was with Hubbard. And Hubbard was the one that was driving that offense, obviously. It's not Bryce Young. Yes, he can do what he needs to do because so much of the focus was on just stopping Hubbard. When you're just letting a player do kind of what they need to do because you only have to worry about one thing, that makes that person's job a little bit easier. And without him there, it didn't look so good. So I think I kind of do understand why you're getting this minus 425 money line. And I can tell you right now, I would feel comfortable enough in this one to take the minus 425 and put it in a parlay. I think I like them there. I don't know what I would necessarily put it with just yet. Maybe a player piece on that one. But
hey, maybe the Ravens minus 2,000.
Yeah, you might get minus 400.
Minus 800. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, and again, I get it. I understand why I think Penix is actually – I think this is the one chance he's got this year to really show out, to be quite honest with you. You've got a weak defense, and if he's going to look good, that's going to be this week. I picked him to at least get his first touchdown last week.
Yeah.
I just kind of figured this is the game going without playing a couple games like that and having that itch. They want to build confidence in your quarterback. That's the ultimate thing, is to get out there, prove that you can throw a touchdown in the NFL. Well, he did it. Now it's like prove you can beat a bad defense. So this is his chance to prove that he can beat a bad defense. I think he's going to be a little bit more proactive. I see him going out there and kind of turning him loose and kind of seeing what they have in this one. They're, yes, right on the cusp of the playoffs, and I don't think they want to lose it, but I think they know that they're going to be able to beat this team. I think he's going to be able to play a little bit more confidently. And my pick for this one, and let me just see what we're looking at here before I throw it out, because I might adjust it just a little bit if it's just ridiculous. But I'm going to go, like you said, I love doing little spread bets. So in this one, I would probably feel more comfortable leaning on that Falcons, and I would probably go that minus 2.5. Let me see what that minus 2.5 plays out to right now. I mean, even at the minus 2.5, it's ridiculous. You're getting minus 350. So let's bump it down to, I'd feel comfortable with how about a minus, let's do a minus 4.5. Or let's do minus 4.5. It's not great. You're getting 212, minus 212, but again, it's not a terrible parlay piece. It depends how risky you want to get. Obviously, you're going to have trouble trusting a rookie quarterback, but he's got a killer running back. And in all honesty, he's got two running backs who are very capable of destroying this team. So pick your poison with those two guys. If Bijan, if they decide they want to save him for the playoffs and get it done early, he may have 60, 70 yards or something like that and not get that touchdown that you need, because Penix got 2 of them. But Algier is well within capabilities of coming in and finishing it off in the second half. Easy. So Falcons roll in this one. Like I said, money line parlay, that Falcons anywhere from 2.5 up to 4.5. I think you're good. But yeah, I'm not going to put it in unless it's a parlay piece on this one. And at that, I would try and make it a 2-leg parlay. So I'm not depending on a ton of shit. Just a couple legs that I think are going to hit. But yeah, I like it on a parlay piece. I like the Falcons money line on a parlay piece a lot because it's like depending on them to hit any type of point total. And then even if they beat them by 1, and if I had it in as -1 or something, it's a fucking push. So that just pisses you off. So yeah, I think anything Falcons in this, however you want to go. If you want to get risky, I wouldn't get too risky just because it is a rookie quarterback, but 4.5 is where I'd probably cap it if you're doing a parlay. But other than that, don't bet it single.
Yeah. Wouldn't do that.
All right. Next up.
All right. So the next game is the 5-11 Saints and the 9-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have a lot to play for still, and I don't mean to be looking down, but I'm still checking injury reports because practice reports come in later than normal usually. So I'm trying to see what the stats of Derek Carr is. Pretty sure they shut him down for the year, right? Did they not?
Let me see.
No, he's questionable. No practice Thursday. So I don't even think it matters if he plays or not. I just wanted to see. I doubt he plays. The Buccaneers win this game. That's why they're -1,000. And believe it or not, we have said we don't like the big spreads, especially in divisional games. Sometimes there's caveats to this. The Saints are decimated on every level on both sides of the ball. I mean, Kamara is not going to play. There's no way they play him. Even if he is healthy, it's a meaningless game. I think the Buccaneers win this game, and I think they cover the 13.5 spread because Baker Mayfield is having his best year of his entire career, and they need this win to get in the playoffs. They're going to come out guns a-blazing and take it to the Aints and beat them down. They're going to beat them down, and they've beaten down many good teams. And the Saints are not a good team, and the Buccaneers have beat down good teams. Think LA Chargers in LA. They smoked. Actually, that was in Tampa. Sorry. They smoked them. And the Chargers are competitive in a playoff team. In a must-win game, I have full confidence in the Buccaneers to crush this spread. And even though the defense sucks, the Saints do not have the personnel nor the coaching to take advantage of that weakness. So, yeah, Buccaneers roll in this game. Definitely. And if you don't feel comfortable with 13.5, I would bet the 13.5. And that's something Brady and I discussed this whole year. We're not comfortable with that. Again, this is a one-off situation. Take it down to 9.5 or 10.5. You're going to get shit odds either way. Again, it's not something I would parlay anything with, even bet it. But I think my pick is the Buccaneers roll this game by a lot, like 35-10. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I don't know if I'm as confident as you are betting the spread. So I'll probably stay away from betting any type of spread. But this is one that I've been kind of waiting on because there's a player prop in here that means more to me than like who wins this game in particular.
Yes.
So there, and I'm sure people are aware of this. People, I've heard about it, other spots. It's being talked about. Mike Evans is right on the cusp of getting how many 1,000-yard seasons is it? It's another 1,000-yard season.
It'll be 11.
I'm not sure.
11.
11,000-yard seasons. So
in a row.
I've been waiting and sitting on these. He is sitting at 915 yards right now.
85 yards.
Yes. So
he's getting that.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those games. If you're gonna have confidence that a guy is gonna hit 100 yards in receiving yards, I would say that this is the game that I would bet on Mike Evans to do it, just because obviously it's pretty tough to stop at 85. Nobody's going to be stopping anywhere. And the only thing that we've got to hope for is that, one, if when he hits the 85, that he also just breaks a big one, and that's the continuation. And you just take care of it right there, and they can take him out of the game and save him, do whatever they got to do. But if not, you have to start looking at his individual props. And even though I'm having a really difficult time, because when I first went on DraftKings, I've been, like I said, been sitting on this prop, waiting for when it came out to see what it dropped at. When I put this bet in, and I already took it, it was at 91.5 is what they put his yardage at. I jumped all over that immediately. It was minus 120 when I got it. Since then, it has progressively gotten way more up there. It went up to 95.5 the next day, and then went to 97.5 earlier today, and currently it's sitting at 98.5. So I got it way early on this one. Nice. So I am not going to recommend that you go out and you bet a 98.5. Now, if it was still at 91.5, I would absolutely tell you to go out and hammer that shit, because I think it's a great prop. And that's what I got it at, was 91.5. So I got in way early on that shit. But now, since it is just skyrocketed, the value is not there anymore. I mean, it's at 98.5 at minus 125. I got 91.5 at minus 120. So I would definitely, there's no discount in there. So if you were one of the early ones, and maybe FanDuel makes a mistake and they put it in a little bit lower, maybe FanDuel will put it in at maybe 97.5 now. I wouldn't even tell you to take that. It's not the surest bet. But what I do have for you is, this is, I think, a great parlay. Excuse me. I think this is a great parlay piece. Mike Evans, 80+ receiving yards I think that's the way to go, for the simple fact that we just told you what he needs in order to get to that number. Now, you can do this in several different ways. You can go on DraftKings and take Mike Evans at 75+. You're going to get that at a pretty decent discount. It's not going to be, you may not want to take that one alone. I mean, you're talking about minus 475 here. So the books are telling you they have a lot of confidence in Mike Evans this week to get his yardage. But that 80+ yards is minus 310. What I'm telling you to do, if you were ever going to go and follow the My Way parlay challenges that we've been talking about and pushing up, this to me, and the numbers have not dropped for this, so hear me out. When the numbers drop, and it should honestly be a little bit later on tonight, unless something has changed. Yeah, so they're not giving individual props for the later, like the afternoon games on Sunday or the later games that evening yet, but they will be putting those out. So I would go on there, go into the single game parlay, take Mike Evans at 80+ yards and build off of that. You can find a couple other pieces within this game. What I would do is wait until you figure out who that quarterback is going to be. They're going to have to outdo themselves in this game. So the Buccaneers, it's hit or miss. If Spencer Rattler is in there and he's going to be throwing the football. So take him for his yardage. Take him maybe for, like, I don't know, if they'll give you all the way down to like 125 yards, take him for 125 yards. Or what I would do is team that Mike Evans 80+, team that up with him to also get maybe 3 receptions. You're probably going to be able to put that together. And obviously, if Mike Evans is getting 80+ receiving yards, then you got to think Baker Mayfield's going to be throwing him the fucking ball. So put Baker Mayfield in for probably 150 and a touchdown, because I'm pretty sure that those two things combined are going to put you in your plus odds. Yeah. And I think you got a parlay that you could possibly get at a 3-leg that's going to give you a lot of good return on it. So that's what I would ultimately do with this whole thing.
Hey, real quick to that point, I would, to pick it back off your point, instead of the 80 yards, take him at his 85. Because I say this, Baker Mayfield has been talking about this for 3 weeks now. I've read interviews where he is saying he wants Evans to get his 1,000 yards, which tells me your quarterback wants you to get it. Evans ain't saying shit about it. I mean, I think he said it'd be nice to get it, but whatever, team success. Haven't seen much about him, but I've seen several different articles where Baker Mayfield is saying we want him to get it. So Brady mentioned, ideally, he catches a long touchdown bomb. I can see him catching a 60-yarder, which means I think they're going to scheme something to try to hit him deep and give him multiple deep shots in the first half to try to get a big chunk yardage. Touchdown, whatever, 40 yards, 50 yards, to try to get him close to that mark. I would take his 85 yards because
you can do that. You can do that on the your way. You can bump it right up to 85.
I would do it right 85 yards.
I would do the exact same thing. Yeah. But like I said, you're going to make sure you get that yardage for him. So I think you're safe to go just above, maybe even that 85, 87 yards or something like that. Exactly. And then, honestly, it could be one of those situations to where if you get a decent enough price on the Your Way challenge, like I said, take Mike Evans for 85 plus receiving yards. Just be safe. 85 plus. That's what he needs. Take that 85 plus and mix that in with Baker Mayfield, 150 passing yards.
Yeah. Yes.
You can get 150 or 100, whatever the minimum is. You're only going to get like minus 1,000. But if you're considering what you're trying to do, I don't think it's going to take a ton in order to get you over that hump, because Mike Evans should be in that 85 range. You should be looking at a minus 285 is to minus 300 is what I think you're going to be looking at. And then, so you need one more. If you get another minus 300 piece, which is probably going to be, I'd say the Baker Mayfield throwing a touchdown is going to be minus 750 to 800. So take Baker Mayfield to throw a touchdown, and I don't know. You got to think that the running backs are going to be producing something. You can put the running backs at some low numbers.
Yeah, take Bucky Irving at 60 yards or 50 yards rushing. You'll be in plus.
You don't even have to do that. You could probably put Bucky Irving at about 25 yards rushing.
Even better, right? Exactly. Yeah, even better. Mm-hmm. That's happening.
What I'm saying. Yeah. That's what's about My Way Parlay. This is the perfect opportunity, and I will be hammering the shit out of this. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Me too.
And if I can come up with something if there's something that I can come up with between now and Sunday when this hits, I'll get it out as soon as possible. But that 85 plus, as soon as I see the numbers, I'll build on it, and I'll build like hopefully 2 or 3 leg parlay that I feel complete confidence in. And I'm going to hammer the fuck out of it. So get ready. It's coming. But that's the picks. Mike Evans is going to be 80 plus yards receiving. I'm only saying that because on certain books like DraftKings, if you're going to put that in, you're not going to be able to pump it up to 85. So then you have to pick your poison. Do you want to go below it and stay a little bit safer at 75 and then parlay that? Or do you want to go above it and then go to 90? You know, hopefully he's going to get the 90 yards for you, because he needs the 85 to get there. They obviously want to get in that. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a touchdown too to top it off.
Agreed. Definitely agreed.
All right. So we're pretty much on the same page with that one, but we'll get up the next one. Is it me this time? Am I starting this son of a bitch off?
It is.
All right.
We already started.
We were so involved in the conversation we were having for a second there that Damn, I just completely lost track. All right. Here we go. We got the Buffalo Bills 13-3 taking on the New England Patriots 3-13. Let's reverse that.
Awesome.
Plus 125 money line for the Patriots. That's shocking, honestly. Minus 145 on the money line for the Bills. Over under is 38.5. Spread minus 2.5 for the Bills, plus 2.5 Patriots. I think if the Patriots were ever going to beat the Bills, this is their shot. Especially in the Drake May era, if he's going to be playing in this one, which I'm sure they want this win. And who's the backup for the Bills? Who is it?
I don't even know.
Do you know?
I do not even know. Probably should. He never plays. He's playing this weekend though.
He's definitely going to be playing this weekend. The Bills aren't going for anything, obviously. But you know what? The Bills have a lot of decent talent, and I don't necessarily think that that's going to be a downfall when you're talking about a team like the Patriots. The Patriots, I've been saying it all year, they're deficient everywhere except now quarterback. But we're not necessarily sure what we've got just yet there. So while you would like to say that, yeah, he can come out and get this done against the second, third stringers with the Bills, I don't have that much confidence in that fact. And let's see. Let me try to figure out who the Bills. It's Mitch Trubisky. It's the return of the Bisky. Okay. That just did it for me right there. The Bisky gets it done. I am all over Mitch. You know why? Because Mitch is no longer a bitch. Mitch comes in and he hands the Patriots another draft position. Basically, he says, listen, I used to be a starter in this league. Hold your horses, Drake. Even though you're named after the rapper, I'm going to come in. I'm going to show you what Mitch does. Mitch is going to make you his bitch. This weekend, Mitch gets it done. It's the Bills. The Bills minus 145 money line. That's what I'm going with.
Oh, wow. Once again, I think you're misguided. I think Drake May makes Mitch Trubisky, he makes Mitch's bitch. And the Patriots win this game because they almost won this game 2 weeks ago with Josh Allen at quarterback. Now the Bills have nothing to play for. They are not going to play any starters. Nobody's going to play that's worth a shit except for their offensive line maybe and defensive line players. Yeah, the Patriots at home get this done. I love the plus 125 money line. That's awesome. Trubisky's going to throw a fucking pick six, maybe two, or a pick six and a fumble. So I love the Patriots money line, and I would definitely bet this. I'm actually going to put money on that. Yes. Patriots money line at plus 125 at home against the Bills second and third stringers. Drake May, who's looked really good with, nobody around him, basically. Yes. I love this pick. Patriots.
All right, well, there you have it. Josh, just like he lost his hair, he's trying to lose his dignity and bet on the Patriots.
Dignity got lost a long time ago.
It's not going to happen. Listen, Patriots, for whatever reason, they suck. I mean, I think it's coaching.
Suck. You're right. You're right there.
Coaching is their downfall. And I think the Bills, I think it's one of those situations to where like the Packers come in and you're like, oh, they cannot win with this quarterback. It can't happen. and then they pull out wins that they shouldn't have gotten. They pulled out 2 wins that they should not have gotten. And I think this is one of those situations. Nobody's playing for anything here. And the Patriots haven't been playing for anything since week 2. They've kind of, it's like, week 1, we're going to be good, guys. Listen, we just beat the Bengals at home. And then from then, it's like they're just walking around with dirty diapers. They're terrible.
All right. So we're on opposite ends of this game. Not much else to be said. Next.
Nah.
All right. Next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Mini Horses. They played like mini horses last week. Good Lord. Who saw that happening? Anybody who plays fantasy football knows that last week the Colts defense was a defense you wanted to stream. Yeah, not so much. Luckily, I did not do that. I thought about it, but I decided better. And they got smoked. The only redeeming quality in this team right now is Jonathan Taylor. JT is killing it. And the rest of the team sucked. And their defense had been playing pretty decent, but Drew Lock lit them up like he was the second coming of Peyton Manning and or Tom Brady. Good Lord. What happened to you people? That was horrible. So, that being said, I still think that with Joe Flacco at quarterback again, that the Colts mini horses win this game. I don't like the over-under at all. I would just do the Colts money line because it's a good number. And the Jaguars are terrible on all levels. I mean, yeah, they've done some good stuff. Brian Thomas Jr., yes, put him in for 70 yards on a prop bet. That's the best thing you can say about the Jaguars. Colts win this game. The spread, I wouldn't touch the spread either. But the Colts money line minus 215, you can pair that with something else and get really good odds. So that's my bet, is just the Colts money line.
All right. Not bad. I don't dislike. I agree with you. I think they're going to win this game. I think this is a perfect game for JT to finish it off big too. They don't, like I said, they're not playing for anything, but he's still probably got some. I would say there's a couple incentives that maybe he's close to that he wants to.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. He's got some juice.
Yeah. So I look for him to have a good day. The Jaguars are giving up 129 on the ground.
Yeah.
And 18 touchdowns. And then Joe Flacco on the other side, it's like his dream matchup, 257 yards given up a game this year and 28 touchdowns. Joe's probably going to have a good game, and it's going to open up the running game. I'm going to go just a little bit different. I do like messing with spreads a little bit. While I do think they covered the -5 spread, I want to be more confident in the picks. I think this is something you could parlay. Colts
Agreed.
-2.5 spread is a -177 right now on DraftKings. So to me, I know we had talked about some pieces earlier. What did we say? Mike Williams, the 75 yards for Mike Williams and this Colts 2.5 spread. That would probably be
Mike Evans.
Or Mike Evans, not Mike Williams. Mike Evans. I think that would be something I would feel confident in parlaying. Or
Agreed.
You want to take that Atlanta Falcons money line.
I was thinking that too. The Falcons one. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. It depends how risky you want to get. If you want to take a -2.5, or if you want to take a -1, you're still going to get something that's going to be below that -215. So if you take that, minimize the risk just a little bit more. I do think the Colts win this game. I think the money line bet, I do agree with that one as well. I think it's a good parlay piece. That and the Falcons would be a nice money line parlay that you're probably going to get plus odds on just by itself. So I like that one. I like the spread on this one. And that's where I'm going. But should we just move on?
Yep, agreed. On to the next.
Let's do it. All right. Back with another banger. We got the Washington Commanders 11-5 taking on the Dallas Cowboys 7-9, plus 195 money line for the Cowboys, and that plus 5 spread as well. The Commanders minus 230 on the money line, minus 5 spread. Over under set at 43.5. Short and sweet. Dallas, yes, did beat these guys the last time in Washington. So this game, going to reverse that. Commanders have more to play for. Cowboys banged up and nothing to play for at this point. They're just kind of going through the motions at this stage. Obviously, there's going to be some players out there that have some motivation. Rush is going to want to, perform probably the last game that he's ever going to play in his life. But the Commanders, on the other hand, Jaden Daniels over there tearing it up, and comeback kid. I don't think he's going to need a last-second comeback in this one. I think they're going to get this one done. I don't feel unconfident playing the Commanders. Money line is where I would go. This is another parlay. I think if you want to stick this one, I'm big into these 2-leg parlays now instead of going like 3 legs, 4 legs, because at some point somebody's going to fuck that up. Yep. And it'll fall flat. So a 2-leg that you feel absolutely confident in. This is another one that you could. I would feel good about teaming this up with the Atlanta money line, the Washington and Atlanta money line. We just talked about the little spread bet that we had with the Colts there. Yep. Wouldn't feel bad about doing that. But in this one, I do have another spread. This is right under your minus 200. So you're not getting a big discount. And to be quite honest with you, it's not going to be safer than you just taking a money line bet at this point. So if you want to get a little bit more risky and add a little bit more to your parlay, then take a -3 Commanders spread bet. If you just want to be safe with it, take that money line for the Commanders. That's where I would probably feel the safest, and team it up with one of the other safe picks that we've given you today. If it's a player prop, the Evans prop, I love that. If it's the money line, Atlanta is probably the one that I feel the most confident in right now. But that's where I'm going. What do you think, Josh?
Out of this whole betting spread in this game, over under 43.5. I like the over. The Commanders defense is bad. It's not that good, obviously. They've given up a lot of points. And I know the Cowboys don't have CeeDee Lamb, but they're at home, and the Commanders can't stop the run. So I see a lot of Rico Dowdle in this game. So that's a parlay piece. I know on FanDuel, you can probably lower his rushing yards to like 30, 40 yards. Take that shit all day long. He's going to get 20 touches. And I think both of these teams will score points. The Cowboys defense has had its moments, and I get they got healthier the last month or so. Parsons came back. They've had their moments, and they've gotten better, but it's not enough. And Daniels is a world beater, obviously already his rookie year. So he's been lights out. He's a game changer on every level with his arm and with his legs. So the over-under 43.5, I think that is really low. Believe it or not, indoors between these two teams that really don't have great defenses, I understand the Cowboys offense is limited with CeeDee Lamb out for the year now on IR. They shut him down. To me, the over-under in this game should be at least 46.5, if not 47.5. So I don't understand why it's only 43. So I love the over in this game.
Yeah, I wasn't really even looking there, to be honest with you, but yeah, I agree with you. I think honestly, the Commanders are capable of scoring a lot of points on the Cowboys.
Yeah,
you're right. The Commanders don't have defense.
Yeah, exactly. And not to mention, so even if the Commanders defense tightens up, the Cowboys still have Aubrey, who only kicked 1 extra point last game, and he missed a 61-yard field goal. That's a long field goal. But you get that guy within 50 yards, actually even within 60 yards, they're kicking. They're going to try to score points. I can see the Cowboys moving the ball enough to the 30-yard line, and they're kicking, at 30 yards, it's 48 yarders. Even at 35, he's kicking 53-yard field goals. I can see him hitting 2 50-yard field goals. That's 6 points. The Commanders are putting up 24 points. You're at 30 right there. The Cowboys definitely scoring at least another touchdown, if not 2. So that over-under seems like a really low number to me. That's one of the best bets I've seen all year on the over-under at that line. It's not in Washington, it's in Dallas. That seems like a really low over-under. I love that number.
Yeah, it does really kind of seem low, but these games are weird sometimes. And
they are. I mean, they're all the games are weird usually. I mean, we've seen some weird shit this year. So I feel really confident. Again, to me, like, look at the other divisional games. Look at the Bengals and the Steelers. That game was at 48.5. To me, it should be reversed. Like,
one other thing that I will say about this, if you feel strongly about, so like one of these games that we're talking about, the Atlanta and Carolina game, and we said that it's a little bit too heavy to bet money line just straight, but we did find some pieces in some of these games that we're pretty confident in individual player props. So that My Way Parlay Challenge, I've also figured out that if you go on the first where it's the touchdowns and they give you, if you go down a little bit further, you can actually pick just the winner of the game and team that up. And if you're talking about you want to get a plus 100 parlay, look for whatever you can to team up with the Mike Evans stuff that we're giving you. Team that Buccaneers win on that one, or if you see something along those lines, or in this game in particular, if you're confident that the Commanders are going to pull this game out, then now would be a perfect time to bet Washington Commanders to win that game, which is minus 230. You're probably going to get a little bit better of an odd when you go into the My Way, and then team it up with, I don't know, one of the most obvious things that you can find, whether it's the Dowdle yardage that for minimal yardage, whether it's Jaden Daniels rushing for a minimal yardage, something that you can find.
I was just gonna say those two are my like Jaden Daniels rushing yards. You can probably get him. He had 126 last game. That's a career high. I'm not saying to do that again, but also, dude, Dowdle minus the Eagles game last week, Dowdle had 3 straight games over 100 yards. Yeah. So, in the Commanders gave up, I don't know, I think it was like 200 to Saquon earlier this year. They can't stop the run. The Cowboys are going to run the shit out of the ball. So, Dowdle rushing yards, you can put that shit at 40 probably and get really good odds on that. That's going to hit. And if it doesn't,
you're probably not going to have to put it at 40 in order to get you plus odds.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, I would feel comfortable putting it 40, which is going to give you over plus odds. And if that doesn't hit, then punch me in the face and call me Sally, because he's going to get at least 15 carries. At least 15 carries. If not 20. Because the Commanders aren't going to run away with this game. They're not going to smoke the Cowboys 45-10. That's not going to happen. They're not the Eagles.
No.
That's not happening. No. And they've already lost this team. So, yeah, Daniels rushing yards, Cowboys rushing, or Dowdle rushing yards. I feel very confident in that. Even Brian Robinson Jr. rushing yards. You want to go that route? Do that. Okay.
Yeah. He's strong in these situations as well. Yeah,
I just feel like this is going to be an offensive game. I don't get why the over/under is 43.5 when they're going to play their people. Aside from CeeDee Lamb, as far as I know, everybody's playing. And guess what? If Micah Parsons doesn't play, the Cowboys decide, we're not going to play our super stud defensive player. Okay, great. And then if they don't play better, it's better for the Commanders to score points. And if they decide to not play Bland to cover Terry McLaurin, even better. Like, okay, because the Commanders are going to play their dudes because they want to avoid the Eagles. They need to win this game to avoid playing the Eagles. They'd rather go play the Rams in the first round than play the Eagles. At least I would. So they're playing to win the game. They're not resting nobody.
I agree. Yep. I agree with Sally. It's gonna be the Washington. It's gonna be the Commanders in this show. All right. Well,
And over 43 and a half. I love that number. That's a great number. Good Lord. Again, real quick, this number in the Steelers Bengals game should be flip flopped. This is indoors against two teams that have good offenses, shady defenses. I don't see how that works. Like, how is the Bengals and Steelers 40 and a half? This is 43 and a half. That makes no sense to me. But whatever, we'll take it.
Yeah, they're literally going on last game.
Yeah, I get that. But to me, I don't see that. But let's take it.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have the exact opposite records. New York Giants 3-13, Eagles 13-3. Over under 37.5. Yay. This should be a barn burner that nobody wants to watch. However, I will say this. The Eagles are resting all their starters. And it does suck that Saquon's not going to get to go for the record. You know, I think he would have definitely got it. And how awesome would it have been for him to get it against his team, let him go. And remember the Hard Knocks line? It's not like he's going to rush for 2,000 yards or anything. And he did just that. Yikes. The Giants are going to fire their GM in the offseason because of that. That's so funny. Anyway, the Eagles, even starting the backups, they just have more talent than the Giants do. Funny story is, in my fantasy league that I finished second in, it's a dynasty league, super flex, and I had Hurts as my quarterback in the title game, who obviously got hurt and wasn't playing. I also had Will Levis and Kirk Cousins, who got benched. So I went and picked up Tanner McKee and just played him just to have somebody in the quarterback spot who might get some points because Kenny Pickett had injured ribs. Pickett ends up getting hurt. McKee ended up getting me over 10 points, which, yeah, not great, but still funny that he ended up playing anyway and got some points. I still think the Eagles win this game, even with them playing nobody. Their second string is better than the Giants' first stringers. I mean, Neighbors is probably going to have a game. He'll probably get his because Eagles aren't playing nobody. Again, I really wouldn't touch this game at all because there's so many unknowns in it. But if the minus 135 on the Eagles' money line, for a team that's 10 games better than their opponent, that's a really solid money line for being a home favorite. I like that money line. The Eagles' backups can still be the Giants' starters. And actually, not even the Giants' starters. They're playing backups too. So, long story short, I would parlay the Eagles' money line with something else, and you'll get really good odds. The things we've been talking about, Falcons, what's a couple other ones? We've been going through a lot of games. So, yeah, I mean, you can put it with Evans, 85 yards. I mean, there's lots of things. That minus 135, you're not going to see a team that's 10 games better than their opponent, and they're at home, only at minus 135. If this was straight up, everybody's playing their, first stringers, this money line is probably minus 500. Minus 135 seems like a really solid number to me. Eagles still get it done with their backups. Love that money line.
Yeah, it's probably the one that we're going to completely agree on because I agree. Although is Pickett going to play?
Honestly, it doesn't matter if it's Pickett or McKee. McKee
No,
looked
I know.
good.
I'm just wondering. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah,
makes
I
it
mean,
it makes a difference a little bit because I mean, you still have a pretty unknown as far as Tanner McKee goes.
it's true.
And, if Barkley's
But
not
I
playing,
mean,
Gainwell, I guess, is going to be the guy. Shipley,
yeah,
is
Gainwell,
he going to
Shipley.
be
The
he's going to
Eagles,
be in there?
the Eagles still have an awesome offensive line, which maybe they're not going to play all their starters. But I read an interesting stat today. Nick Sirianni, believe it or not, has like the most wins since he became the coach of the Eagles in the NFL. He has the most wins. Really can't argue with that. So to me, comes on the coaching. He's going to coach up his backups and third stringers more than Dable's going to coach up whoever he's throwing out there. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I do think the Eagles get this done. Um, But if the Giants if they want to come out there and they want to play again like they did last week, you might. I mean, they could make this a game, and
yeah.
that's where I kind of hesitate because you might be getting a really good fucking price on the Giants when all this is said and done. If they come out and they're like, hey, you know what, Drew Lock, this might be the last game I ever play in my life, so
Fling it.
maybe I'm going to fling it all out there and just if
Yeah.
somebody notices me for one game or I have a two stretch game that shows I can do it at a high level, whatever, you carry that over. Weirder shits happen. There's going to be teams that need a backup quarterback in another formidable position next season. So he's going to be trying to up his stock, whether it's staying with this team or going somewhere else. Neighbors, if Neighbors is playing, where is he at? He's got to be close to he's probably got 1,000.
Oh, he's already worth 1,000. Yeah, he's
I
at
mean,
1,100, something like that. 1,100, 12.
and
He's up there.
he's questionable right now, but you still got that's a pretty dangerous receiving core, to be quite honest with you. If Slayton's playing, Wendell Robinson's good. Johnson's he's a good tight end. They've all been formidable. I don't know.
Theo's on IR. I don't think they're not going to play Theo Johnson. Yeah, well, he was.
So
I haven't run a dynasty team. I don't. Even if he's healthy, he's not playing. The Giants, they did play inspired football last weekend, which was impressive. I'll give them that for sure. They came out and slung it all over the place and beat down the Colts. But the Colts are not the Eagles. So the Colts are not the Eagles.
very true. But here's where I'm going to go with this. I think this is a game that, like I said, if the Giants want to come out and they do show out, and then you've got, on the other hand, you've got the Eagles who obviously McKee wants to show what he can do. He doesn't want to, right. He's not trying to ride off into the sunset just yet. And you got some of these guys that they are going to be competing. I think this is a spot that over 37.5. I'm going to take a shot on it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm going with this one. I think it's kind of low, to be quite honest with you. Just because you're looking at like the second strings here. But on one hand, you may be looking at the starters versus the second string.
Yeah.
Which I like that. And if it is both second strings, I like that. Either way, I do like the over 37.5 in this matchup. That's where I'm going to go.
I agree with that because I think Neighbors against backups, Neighbors is definitely going to light him up. He's definitely going to light him up, which means the Giants.
If he plays.
Yeah, if he plays, that means the Giants can probably get to 14 to 17 points. Eagles score 21, 24. So 21 or 24. So I like that pick too. Both solid picks, I think.
Yeah, I like them both. But
Yep.
we'll move along. All right. Next up, the Chicago Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Chicago We Suck Bears 4-12 against the Green Bay 11-5 Packers. Plus 360 on the money line Bears, minus 500 for the Packers. Minus 10 spread in the Green Bay Packers' favor. Can't say I disagree with it. Over under is set at 41 and a half. Listen, Bears have been choking on sausage all season, and it just seems like it's just going to continue again. The Bears are going in duck can again on this one. I think. I think Caleb Williams is terrible. I mean, listen, he's holding the ball too long. He's going to get killed back there eventually. You can only, I mean, sometimes I don't know what he's watching. I don't know why he needs so much separation from the receivers and the secondary there. It's getting crazy. Just let go of the ball. We're not protecting an interception record here. Like, who gives a shit if you don't throw interceptions? If you don't throw the ball, you probably won't throw an interception. And so far, I've seen you go backwards so much here lately when all I need you to do is go forward a little bit. And we're just not getting there. So, yeah, I'm going to side with the Green Bay Packers in this one. But while I don't think the Bears are a high-scoring team by any means. Division game, I think there's got to be some type of weirdness somewhere. Mm-hmm. And in this particular game, I think that this one can get above the 41 and a half. Normally, I would not say that. I would not say that in these weather conditions. I just think this is one of those combinations. Caleb Williams is going to be playing hard in this game. It's his last game of the season. You know, he can go pamper himself during the offseason, which he's got a load of money to do that with. He doesn't have to worry about, going out and throwing the ball under 25 seconds or anything like that. He can go play sand football and shit. Yeah. He can go play sand football and just be a star all summer, off season, But the Packers, they're going on to bigger, better things. Their quarterback gets it out on time, and I think this one's going to be Packers all day long. I think that over 41 and a half, I think it's good to go here. What do you think?
Solid. I actually think that the Bears are going to – this is the division game where the large spread comes into play. Both teams are going to play their starters, from what I've heard and read. Odunze might not play, but Odunze really hasn't been a huge part of the offense. Keenan Allen has. They're going to want Caleb Williams to come out there and wait his 25 seconds to throw the ball. Packers defense has not been that great recently. They were for a while. I mean, and they're not bad. Jair Alexander is still out. I think they actually put him on IR, believe it or not. So this is a division game this last week of the year that I think the Bears cover the spread. I love the Bears plus 10. That's a huge spread. Packers ain't blowing nobody out recently. Jordan Love has not looked very good the last month or so. Not like he did last year where he went on his 8-game tear. This year's been a complete different story. He has not been lining it up. They've been running the ball a lot efficiently, which has worked for him. But he looked terrible against the Vikings last week. Just like in the first game against the Vikings, yeah, they pulled the comeback and made it look close. It really wasn't close. So, yeah, as bad as the Bears have been, like you said, cold weather game. It's, the frozen tundra of Lambeau. So, yeah, I don't think the Packers beat them by 10 points. I really don't.
That'll be interesting to see. I was kind of leaning that way myself, but
Yeah.
I just don't trust the Bears. I look for them. I trust them to come on late and try and score a bunch of points.
Yeah.
But I
right.
don't necessarily, and that could cover the spread. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like I think Caleb is one of those quarterbacks that in this game he may take some shots and regret playing football in the first half, but then in the second half he's going to be like, oh, now I get to go home and lay on my bed of money and everything's going to be okay. And
hey, but
my money that I
yeah,
didn't
but
really.
in the second half, you're going to play a soft shell and give me what I want, so I can just dink and dunk my way down the field and score some points and keep it close, or within 10 points, not close per se, but within 10 points.
That's. I mean, it's highly likely. I'm like I said, I looked at it too and thinking.
That's the way I'm thinking it. Yeah,
I could go there. I get it. I totally get it. But
yep.
All right, moving on.
All right, so now we have the 9-7 Seahawks going up against the 10-6 Rams. You notice this, that the Rams are the home team. They won the division, and the money line for them is plus 240. I'm pretty sure I read the Rams are the first team to actually clinch a division by the 5th tiebreaker they have set up. Not going to go through all of them. Read them like 2 or 3 times. It's a lot. But they got it done. McVay has said they're going to rest their starters. Stafford's not playing. Jimmy G is starting at quarterback. So basically, neither one of these teams have anything to play for. It's not a game I would touch at all. I really don't understand why the spread is 6.5 points. When do you really think the Seahawks are playing all their starters? They're missing Kenneth Walker. How much are you playing DK Metcalf and Jigba? You got, Charbonnet, but how much are you really playing those guys in a meaningless game when you're going to risk tearing the ACL and they're going to miss all next year? Won't touch this game at all. Don't like anything about this game. It's a complete no-go. You really have to be a fan of either team or just a really degenerate gambler, which we are. That's why we're doing this. But not enough to touch this game at all. Nothing in this game sounds appealing unless you want to play some player props. I guess Charbonnet's going to play and give him his rushing yards, whatever you want to put that at. Gino does have some incentives, so there's that. So if you want to bet on his prop, as far as like the money line or spread or over-under, I ain't touching this shit. There ain't no way. That's just asking for a loss. And gambling's hard enough when you have all the information. We have enough information to know that the Rams ain't playing nobody that's going to – because they're going to the playoffs. The Seahawks are not. So, yeah, I won't touch this game.
So, I got to be quite honest with you. When I first looked at this game, it confused the hell out of me because I'm looking at their records and I'm like, 10-6, and the Seahawks are 9-7, and so these two teams play each other twice a year. Regardless of what happened in the first matchup, that would mean like if the Seahawks win, then they have a 10-7 record, and the Rams have a 10-7 record, and they're both 1-1. And then it goes to the is it divisional records that they go to next?
Yeah, division record, then conference record, and then same opponent record, and then another tiebreaker. And the 5th tiebreaker is the strength of schedule tiebreaker, which was literally decided by how many points. I forgot what team it was that they played. How many points they lost by last week? That was. It was the Niners. It was the Niners. The Niners Monday night. The Niners and Lions. It depended upon how many points the Niners lost by. That
Okay. That's kind of how the
it was the fifth tiebreaker.
This went all the way down to the fifth tiebreaker with these two teams. If Seattle were to win the game, then it would go to the fifth tiebreaker.
Yeah, but since the Niners lost by a certain amount of points or whatever, the Niners losing lowered their strength of schedule, which lowered the Seahawks' strength of schedule and raised the Rams. So the Rams clinched based on that.
Got you. Okay.
So if the Niners would have won, then this game would have been for the division. But since the Niners lost and how they lost, it's really convoluted. It almost is just like a college tiebreaker scenario. It's strength of schedule. And the NFL wants to avoid the strength of schedule tiebreaker as much as they can. That's why they put the other four on top. Like you said, it's I even think
I'm looking at it and I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, it's really weird, but
giving them the gold.
Yep. The division record's the exact same. Even if whoever wins this game, it'd be the exact same. Their conference record's the exact same. Their out of conference record's the exact same. So it's down to strength of schedule, and I'm pretty sure. If it ain't the first one, it's one of the only ones ever to come down to the fifth tiebreaker, which is overall strength of schedule. The Rams got it. McVay said he's like, I'll be watching Monday night intently, and he already said Stafford's not playing, Jimmy G's playing. Yeah, it's all done. So again, I wouldn't touch this game outside of a player prop here or there. If you find something, Kupp, Nakua, Kyren Williams, Stafford, none of them are playing. So
yeah, which is interesting because I'm picking my money line bet on this is going to be the Seahawks. And again, I'm not going to be betting this, but I'm going to pick the Seahawks to pull this game out. Yeah. Just for the simple fact that even though the Seahawks are not playing for anything, I did hear there are some incentives flying around in this game. Mm-hmm. Most of them revolve around Geno Smith. Smith, if he can maintain, I believe it was a 70% completion percentage, then he hits, I want to say it's like a 500K. But if he can also chip in 185 passing yards, I think I think that one's a bigger bonus. I want to say that one might be the 500K. But I know that there's a big, substantial incentive bonus right there for him to hit the 185. So that's what I'm going to lean for in this one. Again, hard for you to go in the mile away parlay or anything like that and try and get those numbers. So if you're going to do any type of parlay with it, I'd try and take Geno Smith 150 or maybe 175 yards, because if he's got to get the 185, I think he's probably going to be shooting for it. And, money talks, people. So if you've got people that are, even though these people, they make a lot of money already, hey, $1 million for them.
Still money, man. Yeah.
That's a nice vacation.
Oh, yeah. And don't forget, too, man, the coaches all know this stuff, too. Coaches, players. Mm-hmm. So since there's nothing to play for as far as going to the postseason, but the coaches will let those guys go for those incentives. I mean, it's Saquon.
And I'm sure GMs that beat their certain players, they also know that.
Right. He's not going for a record, and then like Saquon Barkley is going for a record. Well, their team's in the playoffs. They're not letting him do that. When players are going for player incentives, nothing to play for, that's why they play this game, to get those incentives. So, yes, Geno Smith will get his 185 yards. They'll let him chuck it 50 times to get there. Guaranteed. Whatever they got to do to get there, they'll let him do it.
Yeah, he'll get it. He definitely should. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't. I think he's a shoo-in for it. But I'd look on some of that for parlays. But, Not too much to say on this game. Again, not betting
Yeah.
it unless it's going to be that player prop.
Right. All right. Another barn better, meaningless Week 18 game. The 8-8 Dolphins versus the 4-12 Jets. I'm looking at the money line in the spread. It's like, wow, I guess in New York. But the Jets have looked just like such a shit show. It's so bad. Good Lord. They're barely a functioning football team. The Giants look better than they are. It's terrible. I do hear that Tua's probably not going to play in this game, which is a very important game for the Dolphins. They need a win to get in the playoffs. Pretty sure they need some help. The playoff scenarios are very convoluted. Long story short, the Dolphins do not play well in cold weather, and Aaron Rodgers gets his 500 touchdown pass. I think the Jets, believe it or not, win this game. Somehow, some way, the Jets just rally around Aaron Rodgers and play good football for one game, are good enough to win anyway. Won't touch you over under. Don't know how that's going to go. But the money line 105 with no Tua, and the Dolphins just are not, I mean, they play better football, but I don't know. Somehow I see the Jets winning this game, division game. I see him pulling it off in Aaron Rodgers' last hurrah in New York. So not going to bet it. But again, for us degenerate gamblers, at minus 105 money line at home looks pretty solid. I'll take that.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of wondering how you would go on that. And that's kind of what I think too. It almost exactly to a T. I think the Jets are going to get this done due to the simple fact it's going to be the last game that Aaron Rodgers ever plays in his career. He's going to go off, do drugs in the forests of Peru, and
hold on. Not drugs. He's just doing mushrooms or whatever. Peyote.
Ayahuasca?
Yeah,
Ayahuasca is a drug.
Yeah, I know. He's going to go to the black hole.
Aaron's going to stay high. No matter what, Aaron's going to stay high. That's all right.
After he throws his 500 touchdown pass.
Aaron, I don't blame you. I agree with you. My pick is going to be I'm actually going to do a little parlay with this one.
Love that.
This would be a single game. Jets money line, Aaron Rodgers, one passing touchdown. I think he does get his 500th touchdown. I think this is it. I do have to say one thing, Aaron Rodgers, that documentary on Netflix sucks.
I haven't watched it yet, so I'm glad you told me that.
I didn't make it through it. I couldn't. I was expecting something totally different than what I got.
I kind of caught the feeling from reading articles about it and stuff. I mean, Aaron Rodgers
totally
is a great
unexpected.
quarterback. He's a great quarterback. Love him to death as a quarterback and a football player. It was so much fun watching him play in his career, but he's definitely a very boring, monotone guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He definitely is.
Yeah. Okay. Enough said about this.
But yeah, there it is. The money line for both of us, money line plus Aaron Rodgers on the touchdown pass. Throw in a little bit of yardage. If that doesn't get you to plus odds, then throw in some money's yardage. Like, I don't know, probably get like 150 yards or so for Aaron Rodgers. He's probably going to go out there, knowing him, he's probably going to want his last game that he ever plays to be monumental. So he's probably going to go out there and try and throw 3 touchdowns and 300 yards.
Oh, and he's going to do whatever he can and already has been doing it to try to get Devontae Adams to catch it because they're BFFs. So
yeah, Devontae's coming up on he's coming up on 1,000 too. I think he needs.
Yes, he is. Yes,
I'm not sure exactly what the amounts are, but that's another thing to look at. Put Devontae in for whatever yards it takes to get in there. He's probably going to be heavily targeted. I don't even think that Garrett Wilson and Rodgers like each other, so he's probably not throwing it to him. So there you have it.
Next.
Jets it is.
Next.
All right, back again. Here we are. The Kansas City Chiefs, 15-1, taking on the Broncos, 9-7. -700 money line for the Broncos, plus 450 money line for the Chiefs. That's the only time you're ever going to get that this season. Plus 10.5 spread for the Chiefs, minus 10.5 spread Broncos. That's definitely the only time you're going to get that for this season. Over under set at 39.5. Okay. Look, you can do a lot better than Carson Wentz as your backup quarterback. I understand that, like, the Broncos are a very tough defense, but I'm not understanding yet the 10.5 spread.
I don't get that at all, honestly. I don't understand that at all.
I mean, you're still talking, it's still the Chiefs. You have a winning pedigree, and you still have a coach that knows how to get it done. So to me, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. So they've been beaten one time, and it definitely wasn't by 10.5. I know that was a different team that you're going to see this weekend,
right.
But the 10.5 spread is too much in this case. Even at home, Broncos at home, their games tend to be close, no matter what the score is or who wins. These games usually tend to be close. I would look at the over under 39.5, the under 39.5 on that. I actually like that. I know it's a pretty low total, and the only way you're going to get it basically is if I think Bo Nix just comes out gangbusters, and because I don't think the Chiefs are going to score a bunch. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, and I don't know, for some reason I see the Broncos getting it done maybe 17-10. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. I think the Broncos do get it done. I don't think it's going to be a landslide. And I think they can keep it in that 10.5 spread. I like that, plus 10.5 spread as well. But overall, I would probably go, my overall pick is definitely plus 10.5 on the spread for Chiefs. What you say?
I'm just looking at this thinking it is so weird seeing a 15-1 team with a plus 450 money line. That's craziness. I mean, I get it. I get it. However, I mean, the Chiefs are going to rest everybody. But Chris Jones didn't even play last week. And they played all the rest of the starters. And they still held the Steelers to 10 points on the road. Granted, it's not at altitude, but still on the road, colder weather. I mean, I'm imagining it's going to be pretty cold in Denver this weekend. It's going to be cold in Kansas City too. But unfortunately, I do see the Broncos winning this game. I say unfortunately because I really want to see the Bengals make the playoffs. I really want to see the Bengals make the playoffs, and the Broncos win. That's not going to happen. But yeah, even with Carson Wentz, the Broncos did blow the Falcons out at home, 6-7 weeks ago, whenever that was.
Yeah.
Even with the Chiefs backups, well, first of all, let's define backups. Mahomes ain't playing. Most of the Chiefs' offensive line should be backups, but they're not. So they're all going to play. DeAndre Hopkins is going to play some. Guarantee Worley's playing some. Guarantee Hollywood Brown is playing some. Guarantee Hunt and Pacheco are playing some. So you're missing Mahomes. Carson Wentz, you can do worse than Carson Wentz as a backup quarterback. Andy Reid, coaching-wise, is going to be able, even with the Chiefs' backups on offense and defense, and Spags as the coordinator for defense, he's going to be able to scheme some stuff up and keep this game within 10.5 points. The Broncos starters, they're playing everybody because they're trying in the playoffs. The Broncos starters are not 10.5 points better than the Chiefs backups or 10.5 points better than their coaching staff and their schemes on offense and or defense. There ain't no way. I love the 10.5 point spread. I would bet that shit all day long.
Yeah. I agree.
That's my pick. The over-under, I tend to agree with you there. 17-10, 21-13, something like in that area. Broncos pull it off. That money line is way too much. But yeah, I mean, that 10 of that point spread is just no way the Broncos, even with the Chiefs backups, because they're still good. They're still getting paid, and the second string Chiefs guys and third string guys are going to play. They still want to put good games on film for future employment or staying with the Chiefs next year, whatever. Yeah, that's not going to happen. 10.5 points. No way.
Hopkins needs one touchdown for a $500K bonus too, just to let you know. I know Andy Reid is not wanting to play his starters. From what I hear, none of them are going to play, but we'll see.
Well, okay, real quick, not to go too long, but on that point, who else are you playing? So you're going to – Mahomes obviously sits. You got Worthy. Rookie, I get he sits. Maybe most of the time he's going to play some. I mean, after Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Worthy, who else are you playing? You're going to play Justin Watson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Noah Gray, Kelsey's sitting. I get that. I mean, those guys have to suit up and be on the field at some point in time because you're going to run 60 plays.
Yeah.
So those guys are going to be on the field for at least 10, 15 snaps, which means they can do some damage in those snaps, even with Wentz. And as far as like Hunt and Pacheco go, you don't have any other running backs on your roster. You're gonna give some RJ Pirine 25 touches, possible, very, very possible. But yeah, even with that, his offensive scheme is going to be enough to keep this game within 10 points. 11 points. Yeah. Love this bet.
I could go out there and bet that Kareem Hunt gets 2 catches, and I guarantee you Samaje Perine will get 4 of them.
and Hunt goes 0 for 3.
Right.
He gets 3 targets.
Doesn't even get targeted, you know.
Oh, it happens. Yeah.
It's the only game that of the season, you know, he'll have 1 carry, and just Andy Reid just wanted to save him.
Yeah, I feel very strongly about this spread bet, though. That's a great bet to me. Let's do it.
Yeah, I like it. All
right. So the next game is the LA Superchargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. 4-12 for the Raiders and 10-6 for the Chargers. Chargers still have some playoff positioning to play for. The Raiders do not. This is the game again. I don't like anything in this game except for so I can't say anything. The money line for the Chargers. Chargers win this game. John Harbaugh has them, obviously, the playoff team. First year there. Turn that shit around real quick. They're still playing for something. Justin Herbert's looked great. Not going to lie. I thought the Chargers would struggle a little bit more going across country, playing New England last week, because it's typical for West Coast teams to struggle on the East Coast. But John Harbaugh had them ready to go, and they throttled them. They've had some hiccups here and there. That'll happen. But in this scenario, going into the playoffs, they want to go into the hot streak. They're letting Justin Herbert sling it. Their defense has actually been pretty solid since their bye week. So I think the Chargers win this game. Going away, the Raiders are not good at football. They're down. I mean, they have their players, of course. They can keep it close. It's not going to be 35-10. I don't like the spread in this game at all because it's just 5 seems like a lot. So I would, again, take the Chargers money line in this game because they want to win and go into the playoffs on a hot streak. And they have the players to do it, the personnel to do it, and the coach to do it. So they will definitely win this game. Partly that minus 210 with, again, something else we've tossed out there throughout the night. It's a solid play. It's not bad odds. I wouldn't touch the spread. I don't even like the over-under because these division games, even indoors, can go hit or miss. I mean, we're seeing the AFC North score 70, 80 points against each other, which usually they lucky to score 30. So I wouldn't touch the over-under this. Who knows how that's going to go? Even the spread, I'll just take the Chargers to win the game. Money line.
Yeah, I love this. I think 210 minus 210 for money line when you just heard Harbaugh asked him after the game something about what's better than 10-11. So
Right.
he wants another win.
Yeah.
I think it's just I think it's an old school thing. I think it's what it is. I think it's
very much so.
It just comes down to you. He's got that old school mentality. You play till the end. No matter what happens, what circumstances, that's the way it is. You're going to play it through. Mm-hmm. And I think he's got a motivated team right now.
That's for sure.
The Chargers, they want to win. They've got a quarterback that is I just think I saw a stat. He's got the most yards passing in the first 5 years since Peyton Manning. So
he passed your boy. No, yeah, not since Peyton Manning. He has more in his first 5 years than Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Most of all time.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
So, he's an amazing quarterback. The dude he's on, he's on. But I think this is one of those games. You're right. The Raiders, there's no just win in this building at all anymore. It's been a down year. It's continuing. They don't have a way out right now. They're just spinning their wheels. When they do win, it's one of those things. This is the perfect scenario of when I told you when you're expending too much to win a game, and then you expect that same team to come back who has been struggling all year to do it again. It's too much. You can't expect that, especially against a juggernaut like the Chargers. I don't even think that honestly the Raiders could beat them if the Chargers decided to sit half of their starters and just wanted to play with half of them. So, but I do know that there is one player, J.K. Dobbins is going, I think it's 67 rushing yards is what he needs to hit one of his incentive marks for the season. So if anything, I would start looking at J.K. Dobbins' props because I think he's gonna try and hit that 67, at least the rushing yard side. So that's where I would go with it. And in a player prop, be a perfect player prop. J.K. Dobbins, 50 rushing yards, teamed with the Chargers, just outright money line win. And your my way, that's gonna get you one of those, baby.
Oh, whatever. That's where you get on your shelf. Hey, guess what? I have one, just not in that league. But whatever.
I had to do it, man. I had to do it.
And you totally caught me off guard. Did not see that coming. So I'll give you props on that one. I'll give you props. Did not see that one coming at all.
Nice. But yeah, take the Chargers on the money line on that. I love that with the parlay piece. With your Falcons, something along that lines, those lines. I think you're good to go with that, but I do like the Chargers. I think you're getting a discount, 210 money line on it against a team like the Raiders in any circumstance. It seems good. So I'm going to take that. Unless they all break their legs in the first couple plays, I think you're good to go. But we'll see.
All right, so the NFL is stacking us up this week with meaningless divisional games. Love it. It's still football. And put that ring up your ass. Is that your cock ring? All right. It's a family show. Forgot. Sorry. So now we have the Niners, 6-10. Y'all know they're in San Francisco. It's Brady's favorite city. Versus the Arizona Cardinals, 7-9. Both teams not making the playoffs. Both teams don't even know who's playing. Brock Purdy, I hear, is shut down, so he ain't playing. I mean, who else in the Niners is even healthy? So, believe it or not, I mean, the Cardinals aren't great either, but you have to go the Cardinals because the Niners are just too injured. There's no the quarterback's out, all the running backs. Guerrero's a good running back. He's good, rookie, but he ain't McCaffrey. He's probably better than Jordan Mason overall, talent-wise, I would say. But I don't know. Neither one of these teams have anything to play for. Not anything I would bet at all. However, there's some player props in here if you want to use. Actually, on the Niners side, I was going to say Kittle, but with no Purdy, I don't trust that either. So I guess if you wanted to be froggy, I would take the Cardinals money line and parlay with something else that we've been talking about. But I don't really feel confident in that just because it's the Cardinals. And the games we've thought they would win this year, they ended up shitting the bed and not playing well and losing. Carolina and other games. So, yeah, I don't trust either one of these teams. If the Niners are healthy, I trust them, but they're not. Haven't been all year. Yeah, don't want to touch this game at all. I will let the birds bet this one. Pun intended.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one just because, again, Purdy, I don't think I don't think he's going to play. He looked like he couldn't even grip a ball. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not playing.
And who do you got behind him again? Who came? Was it Hobbs?
Yeah, it's Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs.
He's got a cool first name.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have one of those, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get it done here. So
I do have one of those. I just got one. It's just we don't buy rings for ourselves in that league.
Oh, you should because they're fun to have.
Yeah, should I?
And the only reason you don't is because you're cheap ass bastards. Everybody should always buy a ring for their team's winner. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals on this. I don't know who's going to start in this game. I don't trust it. Like you said, I'm not betting it, but I would just go. This is one of those that if I'm going to bet, do I feel comfortable betting a minus 225 on the Arizona Cardinals money line? Absolutely not. I feel more comfortable knowing that the 49ers don't have Purdy, though. So that makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know. I don't know if the Dobbs magic is going to come back.
Hey, but
be the same.
Real quick though, with Dobbs, the one thing that gives me pause is we're knocking him. But last year when he filled in with the Vikings, he did actually pretty well in a well-coached offensive scheme, which the Niners definitely have. I mean, I can see him making hay and making a really close game and giving the Cardinals a run for their money because the Cardinals suck. You know, I get their 7-9 versus 6-10. I understand that the records, but throw that shit out because the Cardinals lost too many games that they should have won. The Niners have been in games and should have won more games than they have, but they were just too injured and beat up. But they've still made games of it. So that's why.
Yeah, but I think the main players of the Cardinals, though, are still going to – you've got – Murray's not going to sit. There's no reason to sit him.
Yeah, right.
And there's no and Marvin Harrison Jr., you're still going to get Trey McBride. You're still going to get their main starters on offense. And they do have a pretty explosive offense when they're on. And at home, I would look for them to be more on than not. So,
I would agree. And I don't think the Niners are going to play like Bosa. And maybe he is playing. They shouldn't because he's been injured off and on all year. And other guys, so again, I like the Niners. I like the Cardinals pick. I'm just playing devil's advocate, saying that Niners are not going to be pushover in this game just because Purdy's out. That's all I'm saying.
No, yeah, that's true. You're right. I get that. But
yeah,
Cardinals are the pick for me,
Yep.
though.
Yeah, me too.
On to the next. All right, up next, my favorite game of the week. This should be a monumental game, honestly. Minnesota Vikings 14-2 taking on the Detroit Lions 14-2. Let's go. Minus 150 money line for the Lions, plus 130 for the Vikings, plus 3 spread. Viking plus 3 Viking side. Over under 56 and a half.
Look at that over under, dude. Look at that over under. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, but listen, if you think about it, it makes sense.
Oh, it does.
It does. Like,
totally does.
Even when you think these teams, like the Lions, a week ago, last week, I think it was, I was thinking to myself, man, they're not starting typical. And then all of a sudden, it's just like it opens up, complete floodgates open, and they come out and do the exact same thing that they always do, just get it going.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a tough one. 56 and a half is a lot. Especially when you have two defenses like you've got with these two teams.
The highest of the year.
Yeah. While on one hand, I do completely understand where you're coming from. Listen, under 56 and a half to me sounds more logical than expecting these teams to go out and just blow the barns off each other. I would logically, I'm getting towards that under 56 and a half. The fan in me wants it to go over 63 and a half. Like, I want to see it. I just want to see the defenses be non-existent. I want to see offense on both sides. But my pick, I'm not going against the Lions. I think that they're going to get this done at home. I think they're going to win the division. I think it's a perfect setup, and it'll just be a little cap off to the Lions' dream season, because, going to the Super Bowl, this is just that stepping stone on the way to that Super Bowl win. And here it comes. Detroit Lions, 14-2, best offensive team this year, putting together high volume of points. And when it comes down to it, yes, the Vikings, great defense. Gibbs is a different type of runner. He's on a different level. I love that kid. He can run all day. He can do this all day. My pick on this is I'm going Lions -3 on the spread. That's where I'm going with it. I could talk all day about this game, but again, I think it just boils down to the Lions. Even if you look at what they're doing, they put it all on the line, and you're going to get an all or nothing situation with the Lions almost from the get-go. I don't think this is a game they're going to necessarily play it too safe. I look for them to make more intelligent decisions now when they get down there. So, like, if they get down in field goal range this time, I think they'll take the field goal. I think there's going to be a little bit smarter game plan by Campbell, because he said in the last matchup, I won't do it if I think that I'll regret it later. I think this is the exact moment that he's talking about. I don't think he would have regretted it later in that last game. Even if he lost the game, this game is still going to be the one that matters. So I think that's what he's talking about when he's like, I'm not going to live to regret. I'm not going to regret that one. I'm not going to regret going for that. This is a different style game, and he knows that the outcome is going to be could be dependent on those 3 points. But in this one, I think they play a smarter game. I think they come out and they do what the Lions do at home. I think they can put up points. And even if they don't, I think the defense will be able to hold them off enough, at least for them to gain traction. It's going to be close until the end. And then I think the Lions beat them. I honestly think the Lions beat them by 4. 24-20.
Oh, so you're going under.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't see that playing out at all. I'm not saying the over-under is just astronomically high. Won't touch that. The Lions have a really, really big issue on defense. I think the last I heard it was 11, if not 14 players on injured reserve on defense, and 7 or 8 of them are starters. And they're not coming back. They can't stop a nosebleed right now. They couldn't stop an injured Brock Purdy last week throwing to Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings and Kittle and the Niners 4-string running back. They gave up points to them. They're giving up points to everybody. That's an issue. They actually gave up 365 yards passing to Caleb Williams a couple weeks ago in Chicago on the road, outdoors in the cold. They can't stop anybody. They have no chance, 0 chance of stopping Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, even TJ Hawkinson, revenge game, and Jalen Naylor and Aaron Jones. The Vikings have a really good offensive line, and the Lions do too. I get that. But the Vikings have something the Lions do not have, and that's called health on defense. Yes, their secondary gives up yards. They give up points. That happens. But the blitz packages that they come up with get to quarterbacks and wreak havoc. It's not going to be a blowout, but the Vikings win this game. I love the Vikings money line. And the Lions have had the number 1 seed basically from jump all year long. I cannot tell you how many times in my 40 years of watching football, I have seen this scenario play out where the team that dominates all year long and the second place team that's right on their ass, they play late in the year. This happens to be the last game of the year, but they play later in the year, and that second place team beats them and then ends up surpassing them. I see the same scenario playing out. Brian Flores' defense is legit. They're going to cause enough problems for the Lions offense and hold them down just enough to where the Vikings offense is going to overtake the depleted Lions defense. Now, if the Lions weren't so injured on defense, if they had Aiden Hutchinson and they lost 2 of their best corners, I mean, it's all over the board, I would give the Lions the edge. The Vikings have health on their side, and I think they have more momentum. I love the Vikings on the road at plus. We just said you don't get a 15-1 team at plus 450, whatever the Chiefs were. You don't get a 14-2 team at plus 130. I'll take that all day long. I think the Vikings win this game and the number 1 seed. I said from the jump. Now, I definitely waver. We all waver on our picks. But the first month of the season, the Vikings were the best team. Their defense was crushing everybody. Weren't giving up anything for points, yards, nothing like that. They kind of fell off a little bit, went through the, not doldrums. I mean, they're 14-2. Offense carries it. The Lions have 0 chance of holding it down JJ, the best receiver in the league. 0 chance. And Sam Darnold, he ain't seeing ghosts no more. He's making ghosts.
No. Listen, the Lions have been doing it on defense continuously all season long with deficiencies. Hutchinson's been out since what, week 3? So
yeah, no. Like week 8 or 9, first of all. And have you seen that their pass rush nowadays is as putrid as the Falcons' pass rush? It's terrible. Their pass rush is like 28th in the last 5-6 weeks. It's bad. The Vikings have a good offensive line. And they lost their cover corners, 2 of them, if not 3 of them. So you mean to tell me that Sam Darnold's going to have time to throw and Justin Jefferson, JJ is not going to roast their third-string cornerback? Yeah. JJ's going to go for 100. JJ or Addison one of those two is going to drop 150 and 2 tutties on this defense.
To me, it comes down to, listen, the Lions, they know they're deficient on defense. They've known it all year. They've been deficient on defense for the majority of the year. Nobody's done anything about it. Dude, I don't even think.
What do you mean nobody's done anything about it? Look at how many yards and points they've been giving up the last 5 weeks, dude. Are you serious? Nobody's done anything about it. Are you kidding me?
Hey, who won the fucking games, brother?
Who are they playing?
I would say these are not bad teams. They played. The Bills beat them. Yeah, I give them the Bills.
Okay, yeah, the Bills. What's the Bills' record?
It took them 48 points to do it.
Okay, and
teams are not going out there in division games and doing that on a regular basis.
I would put the Vikings offense as higher than the Bills offense, just as high. Yeah, they're getting it done, dude. Let's see. They gave up 30. They won 34-31 against the Packers in Week 14. They got 48 points dropped on them. Yeah, they beat Chicago. Chicago scored 17 points, but Caleb Williams still threw for 350 yards on them. Then the Niners scored 34 points on them with Brock Purdy, who couldn't throw the ball fucking 15 yards. So yeah, dude. And guess what? None of those teams have. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
Okay, let me just point out, Hutchinson was not there the last time when they beat them. So he was already gone. So they've been dealing with his deficiency already when they played him the last time.
And they gave 29 points.
They scored. You're looking at the wrong stats because that defense was the same defense that they're going to be playing when they come to Detroit this time.
No, it's not, because the Lions have lost secondary places.
I'm not talking about the Lions. I'm talking about the Minnesota Vikings. That's the same defense. Okay. Guess what the Lions did to them the last time? The offense didn't that was not the issue the last time. The offense absolutely fucking destroyed this top tier defense. 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks for Goff. Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries, 116 yards, and another 2 touchdowns. And David Montgomery was almost non-existent with 9 carries for 31 yards, which doesn't make a shit ton of difference. But Amon-Ra comes up with 8 receptions for 112 and 1 touchdown. Mm-hmm. Where are the true question? And Gibbs also added in another 4 for 44. So the true question to me is, where are you stopping this offense? You didn't do it then.
They're going to. They're going to
do it in Detroit.
They're going to enough to win the game. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Then you can't stop them.
They're going to outscore them just the same way.
You can only hope to contain them.
They're going to outscore them. This time it's going to be 24-20.
No, I think
they're going to go on to get one of those.
Yeah. Okay. I got one. Thanks. Yeah.
Not on your finger.
Hey, again,
not on your finger.
What do we always say too, man? It's hard to beat a division team twice in one year. It's hard to do it. Lions won the first matchup by their heritage chin. And
did you pick the Steelers or Bengals earlier?
I don't recall, man. This is our 16th game, man.
You can't remember who you picked?
No.
It's your pick, not my pick. That's why I'm asking you.
I know.
Because I'm just saying, if you pick the Bengals, then, you know, I'm just saying.
It's an individual scenario.
Shut the fuck up.
It's a case-by-case scenario. Actually, I'm pretty sure I picked the Steelers. I'm pretty sure I picked the Steelers.
All right. Well, hey, if you've stuck with us this long, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned it yet, please hit the like and subscribe. We do this because we have fun doing it. We like talking about these games. We talk about these games amongst ourselves anyway, so we might as well put it on out here, and the rest of the people can see what they think about it. Let us know in the likes, in the comments. Hit us up. Let us know what you think about our picks. Hit your own picks in there. Let us get some conversations going. We're going to keep doing this until the end of the season. Obviously, it's just going to get better because the playoffs are pumping in. But we're having a blast. It also, if you followed the NBA picks, those sucked last night. Just getting back into it, but is what it is. I think I hit it tonight though. But we will be back again. Like I said, hit the like and subscribe. Give us some subscriptions. We're on our way to our first 100. So it'd be really cool if you all helped us get there, and continue to follow us and put in some of these picks. Let us know what you think. But we will see you again next time. Until then, peace out. Keep balling.
Watch these games. This game's be awesome. Vikings and Lions. Let's fucking go.
Hell yeah. See you, everybody. Peace
Deuces.
out.